So
what do they say? When one door closes, another opens.
Yeah, I mean, and then
Right?
Chase's cousin makes like
Got to create the space.
yeah.
I keep messing up and bastardizing these like
These ancient quotes.
ancient quotes.
Just modernizing them.
Yeah.
You know, when you close one app, bro, another one slides open for doom scrolling. Welcome to Unrolled, the show where we unroll the stories, science, and culture of cannabis. Whether you're kind of curious or a connoisseur, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. We were just talking about like the process of once cultivation's up to, and like we get the Riley strain going, and you know, going in and like doing like sound bath stuff like in there, and like, you know, showing that whole process,
That frequency
of everything
In the grow, that'd be so cool.
in the grow. Yeah. Really just raising the vibration of the plants. But I wanted to ask you, is there still like legitimate land raised varieties kicking around?
Yeah, I mean, Victory just said they harvested one. They got pre-rolls of it, but usually they're not like the biggest buds. They're kind of wispy. You get like different flavor profiles out of them. A lot of people will use them to breed. So you'll have something that is like has good structure, like a GMO, and then you can just cross anything into it, or like a strawberry guava. You can just cross anything into it. And that has like the body of the bud, and then it just like picks up flavor profiles from things.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
And then you do mainly living soil?
Yeah. Yep. I add all my own dry amendments. I like to add microbes and mycorrhizae and fungi and all that stuff in there. Yep. Keep
so every part of the process will be high end.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
The seed.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Obviously the cultivation, and I think, you know, to what Dave was just describing, like adding that next level energy, right?
And I have like the old school, like the original skunk, the original haze. Like we could grow a haze that goes, you know, normally stuff harvests in 8 or 9 weeks, 10 weeks. Like some of them go 11, 12, 13 weeks, but it's like you like an energizing high. I know you do. So if you grew like a haze to its full fruition, you know, it'll be awesome. It's just gonna, you know, they might not be the biggest buds, but people that like that kind of stuff, I mean, don't really care. I don't care. You know, if I'm buying something that I know is like a 13-week haze, I don't care what it looks like if it tastes good and does what it's supposed to do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think the space needs new energy into it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm saying that like, you know, half jokingly, but like seriously, like I think we were talking about this earlier. Like, I feel like the cannabis space has got a little bit of a black eye from some of these tabloids and some of this bad press, whether it's just, you know, the machine doing what it does is just catguying on, you know, the real spiritual stuff. But I feel like it needs just a new energy, maybe a new storyline to kind of bring it back to its roots. So maybe something like this could help that part of it, because I feel like it's gone so one way. I think, you know, again, the media is running with some of these storylines around just emphasizing that cannabis is it's black or white. It's all bad. It's like it's making people go crazy. It's bad for the brain. It's making people vomit and stuff like that. Like, you know, just kind of showing responsible, intentional cannabis use in a different way, telling that story a different way, but also bringing some level of balance to that conversation, because it's not one way or the other, right? I mean, is it use or is it abuse? What are we talking about? And, you know, and just, I think doubling down on this this mindful, you know, intentional, almost sacramental cannabis use on some level, right? It's just like having a new relationship with it, but it's like knowing the whole process. It's understanding, you know, what seeds are using. I know a lot of the people know that already, but, you know, seeing it in real time and, you know, that and feeling that energy at the end of it, right? Because at the end of the day, the cannabis plant, or I think all nature, takes on the energy that it's the environment that it's growing in, right? So really showing that piece and capturing that essence, but then at the end of the product, the experience itself is different. I mean, the energy has to be different for anybody to believe that this is a real legitimate thing, as we know it is, because we've all experienced, you know, bad environment, cultivated cannabis, and poor energy, maybe the cultivator themselves, or just the environment, just the weakness of the genetics.
I feel
whatever
like I
else.
can tell the difference. You know, when I smoke, I was smoking like some organic weed earlier that wasn't mine, and you can just tell.
No, right away.
This
right?
guy was pissed. pissed when he was growing this.
It was good. No, it was a good, and I'm just like, I can tell in the flavor profile, in the way you feel, it's just different. It's weird. It's on a spiritual level. It's a really weird thing to try to describe. It's not that it like tastes particularly better, because it does, but like other weed has a taste, just has a different taste, but it's like a different kind of taste, and it's a different kind of feel. I don't know. I like to smoke when I first wake up in the morning. That's like how you really like know how a weed's gonna how you really feel off of it. I'll smoke an indica. It doesn't matter. I'll smoke. It's just how you know in my head like how a weed actually makes you feel, because you wake up, do your shit, drop the kids off, do everything, and once my responsibilities are taken care of for the morning, I can smoke and I can like actually feel how the things actually treat you.
Yeah.
And that's it's like a good test for. Past that, you're just kind of like maintaining a high all day. I understand that too. It's a
well, you know what I was thinking about when you were talking about the process of it and how you can kind of tell, and people, it's like, people know what seeds they are, or people know what it is, but at the end of the day, when you can see it, it just intrinsically makes something different. And it reminds me of behind the scenes of like movies or projects. And again, I kind of always tie it back to this because it's what I know so well, but like, when you show the behind the scenes of creating a high-end commercial, or like a lot of people will do it like in the sports world too. Like people love seeing like the cameras that were used to capture this like promo and all this type of stuff. I mean, my brother does visual effects, and one of the biggest things in visual effects is showing the process, showing the behind the scenes, showing the screen wipes of each phase of like, here's the original thing, and then here's when we added this, and here's the finished project or the product, It makes a big difference, to the degree that people sometimes like to watch behind the scenes more than the actual finished project.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
People just want to see like, oh my God, that's so crazy, because they don't always, in that world at least, they're not always like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch this full movie or this full thing that you did. But people want to see like, how was somebody creatively thinking about this? What was their thought process? What was their approach? How's it different than how I would do it? And then sometimes it's like, oh, that's brilliant. I want to use that for my next thing.
Understanding their why.
That's exactly it. And I think that is universally true, especially here with what we're talking about. It's like, you can know what it is, but if you know why it is that way and how, that's the game changer.
100%. And I think there's another dimension that we can really kind of, lean into is that genetics are obviously super important, right? But they're not the end all be all either, right? I mean, you could have the best seeds in the game and you cultivate it in a subpar environment. You're not maximizing genetics, right? And the other way is true as well, right? I mean, you can have an average genetic, but if you maximize that, it potentially could be better than the other higher end genetic. Mm-hmm. So I guess the point is that we capture the whole process and the why. But I think when people start realizing that I think a lot of people just lean into genetics. It's like, oh yeah, it's just genetics. It's like genetics. Yeah, of course they play a huge part in it. But I'm more of like, these are the nature versus nurture. It's like, what kind of environment are we creating? Whether it's this living plant we're talking about or ourselves, right? It's like you could have the best genetics, right, as a human being. But if you're not like putting the right food in the body, you're not thinking, in a positive state of mind, and if you're not doing the things that would nurture those genetics, like you maybe just look good in a shirt. You have a nice rock solid meat suit, but like you're not really maximizing anything. You know what I mean? So I think the same thing applies whether you're talking about plants or you're talking about humans. Like we gotta maximize this. And I think what we're talking about, this process that we're gonna eventually capture, will be that. I mean, it's not just like getting the best seeds, but it's it's Dave doing what he does with the best environment. And
well, then the process of getting to that point too, because I'm like. At one point I had like 25 genetics, and I'm like, only a handful of them were ones that I know are keepers from here and like breeders cuts. And like, I know I can't get rid of these, but I want to search through like a bunch of things and find my keepers, and it takes going through those things for a long time to realize like, all right, man, I've tried this a few different times. I've gave it my best, I know this is the best it can be. And it's like, and it still doesn't burn the way I want it to burn. It might grow awesome, yield good, smell good while it's growing, still smell good in the jar, but then not smoke the way I want it to smoke. And it has to get through all those tests, you know? and like grown my best. And even if I screw it up, you know, like no matter what, like, cause there's ones that are so good that even if you screw up a little bit, it still tastes good, smells good,
Right.
everything. You might not
Forgiving.
yield it as much. Yeah. Very forgiving,
Yeah.
you know? And then I think I'm narrowed down to like 8 at this point, you know? And who knows, I might shave a couple off, but I'm trying to like touch all the bases, you know, and make sure the final result is, because I have ones that are really a pain in the butt to grow, but you have to know exactly what the final product is going to be and then nurture that, you know? So you talk about like intention, and it's like, I know this one doesn't want to get tall, but if I pull these lower leaves off, it grows taller and it'll push more roots out and make it more hardy. And I know it turns purple no matter what. So like, don't pay attention to the temperature as much, because it's going to turn purple no matter what you do to it. And it just comes from doing it over and over again and knowing and defoliating as much as I can on that one, because it gets super leafy, you know, and it loves haircuts. You give it a haircut and it just, you know, swells up, and it's just knowing all the intricacies of it, because like somebody kept it for a reason. Like that's a breeder's cut, and somebody, you know, because no matter what, when it's done, even if it's a leafy mess, the joint tastes so good and the jar smells so good. But if you do it with intention and grow it in living soil and prune the lower leaves and defoliate it super heavy during flower and pay attention to all those things, you're going to have like the craziest alien looking buds ever that smell good, taste good, smoke good, like all the things. But it comes with being intentional. Somebody else might not grow it that good.
Yeah,
you
right.
know? They might have,
I was just thinking to last week, and when those people were here, or the one lady was here who works with I forget the company.
Real?
Yeah. And they were saying like their pheno hunt, right, is they start off with what, like 2,000
at least, 2,000 seeds or something.
Yeah.
2,500.
wow.
Yeah.
and then they narrow it down to like 2. Like they're, how long they say, to like 18-month process?
It was a long time, at least 18 months.
Yeah,
I believe it.
I'm like, holy crap, man! Like that's wild to think about at that scale, you know, of what you have to go through to do that. But that was just
keep clones of all that stuff to make sure you don't lose
right.
it. You're like planting seeds and then making sure, like,
That's
all right,
a major process.
That's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Because when you were talking about, like, I had like 25 different strains, I've narrowed down to about like 8. I know it's like a little bit of a different process, but still, I'm just like that. Like that scale is insane.
And it's over like 3 years I'm doing that, you know? Just because I'm doing it. You know,
right.
It's just like I let my people that I let try it, they vote on their favorites and everything. And like I get feedback, but it really comes down to like I know what like smells good and tastes good and burns good. And
right.
It's reassuring to me that when they tell me their favorites, it's already up on my list. Like, yeah, I know. All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah. I had a question for you, Dave, around cultivation, but obviously prohibition drove everything indoors, drove THC content through the roof. And then obviously the Farm Bill rolls around, and then they started taking essentially marijuana varieties, breeding out the THC and driving up the CBD. Do you feel in the near future, now that like the CBD space is now merged with more medical cannabis and adult use space?
Yeah.
That these plants, the cultivators will start maybe finding more balanced varieties, maybe breeding some of that THC down, CBD up, and then like making these a little bit more balanced, like they were kind of originally created, like the landrace seeds.
I think with so if you go back a little bit, like I think how they just reversed the 2018 Farm Bill. I think that had to happen if they're gonna reschedule to Schedule 3. And if they're going to reschedule to Schedule 3, everything I got to imagine is going to fall underneath of that umbrella. And then it's going to, like right now, we can't grow just CBD. Like when we open up, like we can't just sell just CBD in here. It has to have THC in it. It's this like stupid loophole that doesn't make sense.
Is that because of the GW Pharmaceutical CBD patent? It's got to be. It's got.
No,
there has to be a political reason why. Because like think about it, it was like sold everywhere. Up until still to this day.
Well, I think you can still sell it everywhere, but in the dispensary.
In the dispensary, but doesn't that like seem like absolutely
I have no idea why.
Like when you
Like,
talk about if it's a medical cannabis dispensary, even adult use, that you're not allowed to sell just CBD.
Yeah, it has to be like a 1 to 100.
Like, which is the most medicinal compound?
It does.
You know, it's like it's just like the most anti-inflammatory.
So are you saying it's because they own CBD and they will not allow it to be sold?
Well, yeah, because I mean that's what's going to happen when it gets rescheduled, right? They're supposed to be this week, I heard.
Yeah, like Friday or something.
Yeah,
right?
But it puts it in the hands of FDA, obviously, Food and Drug, and you know, like it's complicated once pharmaceutical companies have patents on compounds, specifically in this case CBD for specifically for epilepsy. Theirs, but it does ripple through obviously all medicine and food now if the FDA controls it, right? So I guess the question is like, how does this play out now? You know, if they reschedule, which they will eventually, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think in loopholes, you know, and I've always watched all these, you know, you watch loopholes as they're happening, like, oh, how'd they think of that, you know? So I'm just trying to think like, what is the loophole for pharma once this goes through that could be detrimental to us, you know? Like, what can they put their claws into?
For sure.
Okay, this is
because you know they have step 2, 3, 4, 5 already planned out.
They have.
This has been very, very well thought out. None of this is an accident.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all by design.
Going back on the 2018 Farm Bill is not an accident because especially with the timing of this rescheduling coming out so quick after that they wouldn't have been able to reschedule to Schedule 3 while still allowing. Because think about it, if they reschedule it to Schedule 3, it becomes federally legal, but still regulated. But then they have this pest over here that's this federally legal, unregulated hemp market that still is interfering with this thing that they're trying to regulate. You know, so they had to squash that and go, sorry, unforeseen loophole. We didn't realize that was going to happen. You guys are smart. Good job. But this is all ours. So back to what you asked about like the CBD thing, I think it's all going to fall under the same umbrella. So now us as a vertically integrated company are able to grow just CBD plants or grow a 50-50 and sell it in here easier. You know what I mean? There's a market for that stuff, but those people don't come in here for it because they can't come in here for it. They go to the gas stations to get their CBD.
Well, that's why I just find this is so crazy. It was almost so intentionally done wrong.
Yeah. Like that's the most medicinal side to it. The people that need it for epilepsy and seizures and all this stuff, and they're forced to go to these smoke shops and gas stations to get this thing, and they come here and they're like, "Do you have CBD weed?" And I'm like, "Not really. I had like one half and half strain at one point, and they only grew it once." And it's like, all right,
interesting.
It's just it's complicated, but it's also like disturbing. It's almost like it's. When you start like looking at it from a different perspective, like a higher level, like it's classic government stuff.
But then I asked myself, like, why wasn't I growing it? And it's just like, because I don't really need it, but I should grow it. You know, I should have something in the library for it. And I think part of it is probably blind spots from people like me too, like that have more reach than I do. You know, like, I don't know, somebody like that executive the other day, they should probably have something like that. And I think if more people have it and more people start doing it, maybe it'll normalize it more, you know? Yeah.
Well, within a year, I mean, obviously things are going to have to change in a big way, right? I mean, as far as like these THC, hemp derived THC products, obviously off the shelf, anything that you'll find in the market, it sounds like it's going to have to be broad spectrum or isolate, CBD isolate, right? But who knows if they reschedule, the whole plant will be under control of the FDA. So all of a sudden, like that whole CBD isolate and broad spectrum might be completely eliminated too, and pushed into, you know, this medical cannabis, adult use cannabis space. And then, well, you'd like to think at that point that you should be able to grow CBD, but but who knows? Maybe it's still that complicated because there's U.S. patents on some of these drugs that they're developing.
Yeah, I don't know about the patent on CBD. I didn't know that.
Well, the GW Pharmaceuticals, you look it up. It's for epilepsy.
Okay.
But again, once you start having, because there's so much money goes into pharmaceutical drug development, right? They're not going to just like let the little Joey in the street corner profit off the same thing that these guys paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to go through all the clinical trials and whatever else, right?
So imagine what they have in their back pocket ready for as soon as the pen ink is dried.
Well,
You know, for
it's almost
reschedule.
like
You
they
think
already
they're gonna
have
wait until the ink dries?
I think it's already the infrastructure is already half built.
yeah.
And I think they're building it off the backs of all the OGs and the original cannabis people, taking their IP, making them, build up the empire.
Well, one of the growers from one of the companies that we get stuff from said at one point he was growing in like the middle of a high-rise building, empty whole floor in a enclosed room, like just the middle of a building. And he grew like a whole cycle for him, and it failed some tests for them. And like none of the stuff he ever grew went out, but he like knows some really cool tips and tricks on how to like grow organically and pass all your tests organically. And I don't know, really cool insight just from like doing that, he's like, this is how they pass every single microbial test there is.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, noted.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy,
No,
dude.
it's some deep stuff.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
All the tricks are always so simple. Like we go back to that. Like when you figure out like what the trick is, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right. It's not really expensive. It's not, it's one of the ways is expensive, but the other way is not that expensive at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not telling it. I'm not giving
Yeah.
it.
Don't, yeah. Keep that one in your back pocket.
I was gonna say, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about it.
Yeah. I wanted to bring something up earlier. I had a question for you guys. And when you were talking about like the way that when you grow something and you can intentionally grow it's when it doesn't matter what it looks like or how leafy it is or whatever it is. If it comes out good, it's good. How does that translate to edibles, to beverages, to things like that? Because obviously there's more to the process of manufacturing it to get it into, the THC that's in the edible or the beverage. How does that translate? Like, obviously you still want to grow quality stuff to use in those products, but like, I have to imagine there's I don't want to say it gets watered down, but I have to imagine there's a difference in the potency or a difference in, the attributes that you're getting out of it once you go through that process of emulsifying, right? Is that
It's part of it.
is that okay? Yeah. Maybe can you break down that process?
I'm curious what
Formula?
Riley thinks first of that form of consumption.
So I would say to that, I strongly believe if you're doing it like high quality, obviously your raw product matters. And if you're doing like a gummy that's full spectrum, you would want to have that raw product be as high end as possible. I think if you're doing
Full
a distillate,
spectrum is it's got like not just it's got what, like different cannabinoids.
all the
in it?
cannabinoids,
Got it.
all
Okay.
the terpenes, the flavonoids, nothing's been stripped from it.
Got it. Okay.
Well,
Full spectrum oil.
Full spectrum,
We
right?
have FSO here. That's what.
right, exactly.
It hasn't been heated up enough to cook any. It still retained its flavor.
Got it.
And all this stuff.
So to
Okay.
me, it's like it's preserving the maximum amount of you say like plant nutrients, if you want, like the cannabinoids, the whole profile, right? Versus like there's gummies and other edible products that are just the isolate, the distillate, just the THC. To me, once you get into that world, I'm not sure that the raw, the original product really does matter, because at the end of the day, you're just putting high amounts of THC and there's nothing else around it. There's no other cannabinoids, no other terpenes and flavonoids. So I'm not sure that the raw product matters. I think that's the question you're asking, right? Is it like, does that whole process matter when you talk about bringing that into a gummy or edible form?
Pretty much, yeah. Because, again, as I keep learning all of this stuff, it's, I'm learning so much from you about the cultivation process and all of the different aspects that go into that the small, simple changes that make big impacts, and how that comes through in the actual, flower at the end of the day. And then I didn't know basically what you said, like how much does that matter? How much does that aspect from that flower carry over to once now it's in, a beverage or an edible, because there's obviously that process to take it from there to now over here.
So there's like so many different forms too. So like with our drinks, we're going to be able to have distillate based live resin based or rosin based. We
Oh, you
talked
are?
to them
Okay.
about it yesterday, and we can emulsify any of them.
Yeah.
So,
and it's
have
a
it
different
be-
experience, all three of them.
each one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to explore that. Like that's coming, and that's not really a thing you see. Like a lot of gummies are just distillate.
Straight up
based.
distillate, yeah.
And there's a handful of them that have RSO or have live resin or have
Yeah.
rosin. It is a thing. It's not like it's completely missing from the market, but
So the difference between each of those two, so distillate is like, okay, we're just getting as much THC in this as we can, right?
quick
That's
onset,
it.
quick offset.
And then I know you've talked about like resin, rosin, and RSO, but now that I'm understanding this next level of like distillate, full spectrum or broad spectrum, is broad spectrum the same as full spectrum?
Broad
Or, like,
spectrum is when you take generally the THC out or the CB. In the hemp space, it was always take the THC out, so it's broad spectrum. So you have a THC free product.
Interesting.
So it'd be broad spectrum.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they even do broad spectrum in this space
think
because we wouldn't need to take
Yeah.
the THC out, right? So. But I do believe, I know from experience for sure, I could say that confidently. The experience is different, full spec, and then you get into like the rosin, the resin versus distillate.
Mm-hmm.
I always make the analogy of like an orchestra. It's like there's something missing with the distillate. It's like, imagine full spectrum. You got the whole orchestra. You got the bass. You got all the the strings. You got all the instruments. Something is very clear to me.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor.
When you just distillate, it's like there's something there. Obviously gets you high, but it's like it's maybe missing the bass. It's like missing. I don't
distillate's
know.
like you got someone like playing a saxophone. It's like,
Exactly, just
nice.
kind of
That
over
sounds
there.
nice,
It's like
but-
it's just doing something, but
Yeah,
like it's not like where's like that extra
The
dimension? Yeah, the fullness,
Okay.
the richness of the sound, and I think that's the way I feel it and see it is like the full spec. There's something a little bit more wholesome there. It's like you can feel the difference.
Interesting.
Yeah, when you get rosin, the horns come in. You
Yeah,
get
okay.
RSO, the bass drums come in.
Because RSO is like
Deeper,
right from what
heavier,
you've described before. It's kind of like
activated, it's heavy.
and so from the actual cannabinoid, is it cannabinoid or cannabinoid?
Doesn't matter.
Potato.
All right, sick. So when you got the potato in there, when we're thinking about that angle now, like, is it like distillate is the least, and then you have like resin?
It's not the
like, is
least
there-
because it's all right. So I wanted to touch on this too. So when we're talking about the drinks, and I kind of know Riley likes to like smoke with hemp wick, or like I know if you heated up a glass wand and smoked the hash with it, and like not let the fire touch the the butane fire touch the weed, things like that.
Yeah.
So like when you get to a THC isolate, it kind of strips the nature away from the whole thing, and it's like that's why there's like a different feeling to it. But the other side of that is it turns it into an introduction to all of this. So like you have somebody that may not be willing to take a hit off of a bowl or a joint or a dab or anything like that, but they will take a sip of a seltzer,
Oh,
they
right,
will.
yeah.
It's an entry point, and
For
they
sure.
go, and it comes on quick, they feel it, lasts for an hour or two, and then they don't feel it anymore.
Right.
And they can slowly dose it. I think it's a good introduction point to get in there. It breaks the walls down, and you go, okay, I can actually handle this feeling, build up a little bit of a tolerance, and then enjoy a rosin ride, because
Yeah.
it's a different ride.
It's
just
different.
is.
Yeah.
Interesting. So then, I guess my next question is, if RSO is like the deeper, right? Why? What does that actually mean from like the profile of it?
I mean, you might know better than I do. I mean, all I know is extremely concentrated oil. So, I mean, I still believe it's full spec, right?
It's
I mean,
full spectrum
spec.
extract that's activated. So
Yeah.
it's been decarbed.
Decarb.
So they get it up to over 130 degrees for a certain amount of time. They use ethanol, I think, to extract it. So it's like they get everything out of it. Ethanol literally strips everything out of the weed. That's not plant material.
Wow.
And then it's really dark amber. And then you heat it and activate it, which darkens it even more. So like a full spectrum extract is the same process, but then not heated up and activated.
Got it.
So they strip it of all the things except the plant matter, and then evaporate that solvent off, which is usually ethanol for something like that. And then RSO, when you heat it, it activates all that full spectrum of everything and brings it all to life. And then you don't even have to cook with it. People keep it. They'll get like a piece of parchment paper and just do little dabs on it, and then keep that. They just put it under their tongue. It's like sublingual. It tastes terrible, but I used to, back in the day, I would
potent.
Put it in make it like a little paper towel parachute and just like a tiny little piece of paper towel and like wrap it up because I could not deal with the flavor.
Oh, it's bad. I've known a few people that have like omitted like listening to like, what the, say the bud tenders telling them like, be very careful with this. Like the tip of an end of a grain of rice. Like you're talking about the smallest amount. They're like, oh, well, I got a relationship with cannabis. I got some experience. Bad idea. Belly up on the couch. Like you're obviously going to wake up the next morning, but the experience can get pretty dark. With that concentrated amount of THC.
Wow.
I mean,
I gave my parents some RSO caramels at one point when I was like blowing glass in my 20s, didn't realize how strong they actually were. And dude, they like woke up the next day still high. My dad said he like locked himself in his office at work the whole day. He hadn't smoked in 20 years, you know what I mean?
Man,
and he was just like, what did you do to me?
What was that?
It was strong caramels.
Oh man, you're talking about psychedelic.
Oh yeah, I screwed him up for a couple days. Dude, I felt so bad.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Wow.
He probably learned something.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Deep inward journey for 24 hours.
God bless.
Like, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Learn something new every day. That's honestly, that's why I love doing this, is like learning stuff like that, cause we have all that stuff here. And like, I've never smoked. I honestly, I don't want to. Just the thought of something in my lungs, I've never liked it, but like you said, the sipping, like the beverages, for me, as anybody who knows me like all my life knows, like, wait, like me getting involved with all this, or like Dave and cannabis, what?
Right, yeah.
What? So trying the beverages, that was really my first like intentional, like, all right, let's go for it.
What this is about.
Yeah, and so I think for someone like me, I take this interesting perspective where I do come from that angle of like the hesitancy, maybe not skepticism, but just the hesitancy, right? Yeah. Which I feel like is a unique position to be in, to like be like, no, I get you. Like, I understand. Let me explain to you why this, this is easy. This is okay, and I think it's very much so familiar. It's social. And I think it's going to give a lot of people that entryway.
Yeah. Agreed.
And you can learn about the situations. Like if you're going out to like the Belushi event, drink a seltzer. It's going to hit you quick. You're going to feel it right away. And then by the time it's time to go home, you're going to be feeling normal again. But if you're going to be home by yourself watching a movie and you just want to hang out, rosin. Have a rosin edible. You don't have to smoke it. Eat it. It's going to last longer. You're going to feel way more of a feeling by yourself or with your person, watching your thing. And then if you like tweak your back or fall when you're shoveling snow, then you got RSO. There's like different things for different things. There just is. So if you can be intentional about it and know what you're using it
for.
So.
Yeah. What are you trying to accomplish? Start there.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, then you can be like, okay, well, you got all these different products, different varieties, different THC content. It's like, what kind of experience are we going for here?
Yeah, it goes deep, man. It goes deep. Which is why, like, I tons and tons of respect to everyone out there. Like, bud tending, they know so much. They know so much about all of this, and to be able to talk to someone and basically say that, what are you trying to do? Like, what's your end goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah,
exactly. That's huge.
Because once you understand that, they can at least give someone guidance. But I think part of the problem is we were talking about like all the negative tabloids and headlines and stuff is like a lot of people just don't know where to start. So they're just thinking like a cannabis experience is a cannabis experience is a cannabis experience. And as we know, it's clearly not. There's a massive spectrum of, from microdosing to, macrodosing or, treating, your cancer with RSO, whatever it lands up being. Like there's a massive spectrum. But I think, the naive consumer thinks it's all the same. It's like being high is being high. It's like, well, or just using cannabis ultimately means you're getting this high, but it's not that. And I think this is why we have these conversations and why we do what we do, is that like we're trying to take the guesswork out of this process and hopefully people can have better experiences sooner without having to, eat a 200 milligram gummy bear and be belly up on their couch and drooling and say, well, I'm never touching edible again. And it's like, well, maybe start at like 5 milligrams or something, you know? Like, why did you do that? What were you trying to accomplish? You know,
it's like you're trying to learn how to swim. So not only did you dive in the deep end, you dove in the deep end with weights around your ankles, exactly. No sense of form. Like,
exactly.
And now you don't want to swim again.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're scared of water.
Yeah.
It's like, you hear this a lot is people had bad experiences with edibles. And I was one of them, like growing up.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, it's the same old story. It was eating a brownie classic, you know, you're young. No one knew the dosage, right? It was just like you just made weed brownies and you just like ate them. And it's just like, I just had 1 square. It's like, well, how many milligrams? Obviously, no one knows.
What?
But it was way too much and I had extremely bad experience. I didn't touch an edible for like 10 years, thinking that's what edibles were.
Yeah.
And it's just like this, well, it's delusional thinking, but when you have an experience just like that, with no boundaries and, you know, no structure, and then you ultimately like freak out. It's like, that's what you think it is. And I know several people that have had something similar with gummies or whatever else, is like they're like, I don't want to touch that. Like that's what they remember.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like talking about reforming your relationship with it, or just teaching it from the beginning and taking the guesswork out. Especially older population is generally pretty sensitive to cannabis, and
definitely.
You know, start low and slow, right? It's like the classic advice. Like, you can always take more.
Yeah.
You can't undo.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could take some CBD or something like that. Maybe take the edge off a little bit and whatnot.
Emergency shoot, yeah.
It's
like, give me the CBD.
Yeah. Get the old CBD patch on the arm. Put it in.
Keep it grounded.
Oh, man.
It makes me just think of like, everybody that I know has like a fireball experience. They have a story of the moment where they were like, and that's the last time I ever drank Fireball.
I bought a bucket of it from the counter of the store. You know? A bucket of shots. Yeah.
That was everybody I know has a Fireball story, and it's like, you know, obviously alcohol is a whole nother ball game entirely. But you know, it just makes me think of that, where it's like, well, yeah, of course you're not going to drink it again because you drank an entire handle of it in one night, and now you think it's like, when you Fireball's the thing that made me throw up. It's like, no, it's your choice to drink the entire handle in a night that did that to you. It's like, you know, oh, I had a brownie that knocked me out. Oh my, it was terrible. It's like, I'm not doing that again. It's like, well, yeah, was it the fact that it was, you know, a pot brownie, or was it something about it that you don't know? Yeah. That like, hey, you know, I could go back, and if I really wanted to, like, I could drink Fireball. You know, I kind of don't want to.
Yeah.
Like,
who
but
does?
I could.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, you know, down tons of it, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the same thing. It's like a lot of people who are you know, nervous about to jumping back in after years and years of not, or after a bad experience. It's like there's intentional ways to do it, that if you know what you're doing, you've just got that extra little boost of knowledge about it, you know, it's like you're gonna have a better experience.
Yeah. And you have to own it, like on some level. You have to have ownership in your bad experience, right? You can't blame it on the cannabis, right? Well, the cannabis was too strong. Well, maybe you should have known how much THC was in there. Maybe you should have taken less. Right. So it's like, I like a lot of people just want to like point the blame somewhere else and have no ownership in it, right? No responsibility in it. But once you own it, you can like reflect with a, you know, some level of a conscious mind and be like, okay, well, let's revisit this in a different way with a different approach, and like, let's know what we're working with.
You got high for a reason.
Yeah.
It went off the rails, but you did it for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to be okay with what comes, and it came for a reason. That's you know, I keep going back to, that's what paranoia is. It's your brain making you think about the things that you don't want to think about, that you're like putting off, and maybe, you know, you should be thinking about them. You know,
for sure. And that's why cannabis is an amplifier, right? This is why people, And I think this is, exactly why you really have to be mindful of how much we consume, is because cannabis is a mirror, right? Is that whatever we bring into the experience is generally what it's highlighting. So to your point there is, say, an amplifier is if you're bringing anxious energy, or you're putting stuff off and you just keep, you know, pushing it away.
Amplify.
And if you overconsume, it could be even a low amount, but like generally the higher amounts definitely trigger that. Is all of a sudden it's showing you everything that you've been storing away, and you're freaking out. and the paranoia kicks in. But
I think low amounts do it to people. With
low
no
amounts can do it
tolerance,
too, for sure.
Especially if you're wound up and you got things that you're avoiding.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. You shouldn't avoid it. You should think about it. It's just get comfortable with thinking about the things that make you uncomfortable. It's just part of growing and getting better.
100%. And this is why we, again, have these conversations, why it's so important to be talking about intentional cannabis use, is that we need to get to a point where we, again, say own our part in it and don't look at other things. We're using cannabis as an example here because we're talking about that, like pointing that's the problem, but it's your relationship with it is really the problem. And you could say that with everything. It's like, it's not the food, it's the amount of food you're eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or the chemicals in the food that you're choosing to eat.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? The food industry, yeah, of course it's tainted, but we still have free will. And we still have ownership if we want to choose a better version of that food, right? It's like, it's not that, it's a relationship with it.
Yep.
And that goes across the board with everything. And I think starting with cannabis, because we're obviously, in the space here, but like once you start reforming relationships with one thing and there's like an ownership in it, it's no longer the victim. It's that caused me to do that. It's like, no, it's like, then all of a sudden the relationships with other things change because there's a respect with it and there's an intentionality. And it maybe take time to really reform, but like at least there's an awareness there now. It's like, because I think once you play victim and say it's the cannabis, it's not my relationship with it, you're screwed. Like you're always going to be doomed. You probably never go back to it and never experience it again because you've now believe that it's the cannabis. So dig in a little bit, talk to your bud tender, talk to Dave and Dave.
Talk to your local bud tender.
Ask some questions like, is this 5 milligrams or 500? It's a big difference.
Like when people come in. People come in and ask for me now. I'm like a consultant.
Yeah,
right. Like, where's Dave?
A connoisseur.
I guess so.
Like,
They should ask those questions.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah. The
Trying to go to sleep. Trying to stay up. They all have answers. Everybody has an intention that they're, nobody's just coming in. You're like, I mean, there's like a couple people are like, oh, it's my birthday, I want to get high, but for the most part, somebody has an intention that they want to, explore with.
Yeah. Which is cool, man. Yeah. It's cool that people are, I feel like it's maybe it's me being ignorant and on all these years and never realizing that a lot of people are very intentional with it, because again, for years I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't, I don't want to say ignorant, but it is not like in a malicious way.
Just not knowing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And now, being around this and since I've been involved, even before we were open and launched, just hearing the conversations that people are having and what it does for them and all that type of stuff. It's like, wow, oh my God, this really is something that's like useful for people. But
Steve's calling me.
Yeah. Do your thing.
And intentionality is a spectrum, right? Because yes, you can have an intention, as Dave was just talking about, as far as like, oh yeah, I'm looking to cannabis to solve, my problem, which is generally pain, anxiety, sleep. And then you get into disease state stuff that people are like dealing with, like legitimate disease state stuff that they're just trying to manage symptoms a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So that's a starting point, like the intention there. But I think like what we're talking about is like leveling up that intentionality, right? It's like really getting into the core of it all, right? Because you could say, well, I got pain, so I'm going to use cannabis. Okay, well, yeah, that's the next step to like think that way. But then like how much cannabis to manage your pain?
Yeah.
Is there a better combination of cannabis to manage your pain?
Yep.
So we start with the intention of like what we're actually trying to accomplish, but then there's like layers within that intention of like how deep we can go to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Right. And then the same thing would apply if you're talking about anxiety or sleep. It's like reeling that in, and it's not just eating a 500 milligram edible. Oh yeah, well, you will go to sleep, but that's not the answer either, right? And you wake up and you be, again, who knows what, like drool on yourself and
I can headbutt a wall until I fall asleep, and that's another way to get there. But I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
Well, I found myself getting to the point where my tolerance with edibles, it goes up quick.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm eating 30, 40, 50 milligrams a night. And I'm like, I can't do this every night. This isn't what it's for. No. I need to use this for when I know my back hurts, or I know I need to get a good night's sleep tonight. I haven't got a good night in a couple nights, It can't be an every night thing, but it creeps up. It becomes like an easy thing to go, I get samples and stuff, like
totally.
Fuck yeah, let's see, man. Last night I did 30. I'll do 40 tonight and watch the movie and fall asleep the same way. And Then I'm like, I'm just sleeping through it, you know? And then you think, I'm like, all right, I'm not taking anything for 2 weeks. You know, I'll smoke, but I'm not taking edibles. And now I can take 20 milligrams and feel what I want to feel and fall asleep. And it's not an every night thing, you know?
Exactly. And I think that's important to know, because you can't be dependent on something for the rest of your life. Eventually, you know, the intelligence of Mother Nature is you will build a dependency. But I also think, like, you know, getting back to, like, you know, the nitty gritty of like these different compounds. Like, I find like THC is amazing at putting people to sleep, but CBD is amazing at keeping people asleep. Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I can fall asleep great, but I wake up like 4 or 5 times a night, right? But the CBD is like another dimension of sleep. But
yeah,
you know, if you're just leaning into THC for sleep, you might be missing a whole other portal of deep rest that you're missing. And I think this is where you talk about, you know, you mentioned like the starting point of that intention is like, hey, I want to address my sleep. But like how deep you can go with like with just cannabis alone, and then integrating other modalities to, you know, soften the nervous system and promote those higher states of relaxation, deeper states of relaxation that would really promote that sleep and just get you rock solid in bed, you know?
Well, that's what I love what you're doing with like the Cote culture, like the rhythmic recharge stuff, dude. Like it is like that intentionality. It is like introducing other modalities, and it's not just saying like, yeah, here's this thing, take this, you know, and then do whatever. It's like, hey, let's structure this in a way where we're going to take you on a little bit of a journey, and you're going to come out of it feeling better, and you're going to come out of it hopefully carrying this with you into other aspects of your life, and you know, again, like you said, bringing that intentionality into other things and taking that ownership of other things, and I think that's like something really cool that, you know, maybe is beneath the surface level, because people can look at it and be like, oh hell yeah, like infused yoga and a sound bath, that's awesome, like I'm so into that. But I think, and maybe you can tell me if I'm just, you know, this is just my thought, but it's like the hope is that people come for that and then leave holding on to something deeper or like greater than that, like a little bit more of a change they can carry with them. Is that fair?
100%. Yeah. And I think, well, cannabis is a teacher, right? It's a plant teacher. There's no question. I think the experience of the rhythmic recharge is really the embodiment of the experience, right? It's like you ingest cannabis intentionally, but to embody it, to go deep in the body, you know, in the mind, softening, and then listening and just like absorbing the frequencies. But it's the idea is to raise and lift your vibration, right? It's to recharge, right? We're trying to get energy here. We're not trying to like, you know, mellow out or we're belly up and, you know what I mean? We're not doing anything. The idea is to cultivate energy so we can take that forward. I think what generally happens is people just really find a new dimension of their relationship with the plant, maybe with their bodies too, obviously, right? Because now we're feeling more, we're getting a little deeper, that when you come out of it, it's like whether you have like an aha moment or it's a day later, you kind of connect the dots a little bit more. Maybe you shift your relationship with cannabis, or maybe it makes you realize that you were not being as present as we should be, and maybe it brings more, you know, awareness there. You know, so I think it's an awareness practice. So you're getting into the body, feeling more, right? Being more aware, being more present, listening deeply, like all those things. I think that it helps bring those elements up. It's a remembering. It's like all these things that we know, we forget, right? It's like, oh, we gotta meet, so we gotta take care of. Oh, I remembered that. You know, it's like, oh, my breath. My breath is an anchor. Oh, I remembered that. Oh, it's like there's a remembering. So it's like you can take these, say, little huge, you know, aha moments that could happen in these experiences and take them into your everyday life. That's the whole point. That's the integration. It's like, okay, I can be present when I'm, you know, at one of these events, but I could also be present anytime, anywhere if I just have that awareness. Yeah. I could feel better anytime, anywhere if I maybe tap into my breath and move a little bit. It's not just like, you know, once a month when we're doing rhythmic recharge. We're trying to take this off the mat and into life. That's the goal here.
Well, that's why I'm excited about the Afterglow too, is because then it is that opportunity to like talk to people and get this point across to them, because I know you talk throughout a little bit, but like, yeah, do your thing, dude. I know you talk a little bit throughout about like, you know, this is what we're trying to do here. This is the intentionality and everything like that. But I think that opportunity afterward to be able to come out with people, network, talk, hang out, chill, you know, recharge,
exactly,
is going to be really cool to be able to let people really process that and think about that. Because really, it's just as soon as you mention it, as soon as you know, then it's in your brain, and then it's hopefully like top of mind as you're leaving. You know, it's gives you the opportunity to kind of set that stage a little bit to turn this into like that kind of community movement that we've sort of been talking about here. You know,
Yeah. Like you think about like how much energy that you can cultivate in 2 hours there, and I know people were buzzing. Like to hop in your car and, you know, go home, like, you know, this is an extension of the experience itself. It's like you could just literally sit there and just process if you want. If you feel the need to want to talk to somebody, maybe dig into their experience or share yours with them. Like I think a lot of people might want to do that, right? I think this integration can look like a lot of different things, and it extends beyond the afterglow. But I think like the integration starts right after. It's like, what are we doing? Are we jumping right back into this crazy chaotic world? Or are we just going to just ride this energy out and maybe have a positive conversation with somebody and maybe meet somebody new and network a little bit and integrate? And you could say nothing.
Yeah.
And it could be equally as powerful as saying everything. You know what I mean? I think it looks different for everybody, but I think the opportunity is there. It's just a landing pad for somewhere to go, a safe place to go after, you know, you've generated this energy. It's a real life force, the prana life force that you cultivate. And a lot of stuff comes up for people, and some people that might not be used to it want to share it.
Yeah.
Some people might not want to, but they just want to sit and just be around the vibe. And so it serves a few different purposes, and I'm looking forward to that. I think that piece, a little landing pad after, is important for people.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool, man. I'm excited as this keeps growing.
Yeah,
and
too.
My hope is that someone's listening to this right now, and it's like months and months from now, and this is just like culminated into this big movement, and is happening, you know, like twice a month, or is happening here in other places, and people are like, oh damn, they were just doing the first afterglow back then.
Yeah,
oh my god, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's gonna be awesome. You guys are in for a good treat, and I know you're gonna enjoy it just as much as they are.
Oh yeah, I look forward to this. I just think about this all the time. You said like twice a month. I've been thinking about this. Like I feel like something like this as we keep forging ahead here. Like I would love to put my energy into this, you know, twice a month, maybe even weekly. You know what I mean? I think it's just like something it's not far-fetched to think that could be, you know, a thing.
Yeah.
For sure. Because there's so much power, there's so much empowerment in this. And I think once we do a couple more of these, you know, word of mouth, you know how it goes. Like the energy travels. It can't be denied. And people are curious. People want a deeper experience in life, but they want a deeper experience with cannabis. They want a deeper, you know, relationship with themselves. And I think like as they know that people are actually doing this, and it's a real thing, that, you know, that maybe they're sniffing around, looking from the outside, but eventually someone that's curious will step in the ring. You know, it's like, say it like that, but like we'll step in and participate, right? And embody the experience, and they'll share. And that's just how it goes. It's just no one's really doing this that I see, you know, and it could be looked at as, you know, different, and, you know, people are unsure. They know what, you know, asana, yoga practices. They know what, you know, meditation is and what breathing is, but like they all together, like what is this mishmash, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's like a lot of different things, but it's all in line. It's all working with the body's natural rhythms, right? The breath, the heart, right? And the sound, the movement, everything is rhythm, right? We're just series of different frequencies of rhythm on this planet, right? The whole thing is that, but cultivating energy. And it's like, I think when people think of energy, it's a lot of time construed or directed towards like caffeine energy or sugar energy, or like, you know, these energies that we immediate, you know, the immediate like dopamine energy, right?
Quick fix
energy,
burnout type.
But this is like the sustainable life force energy that we can cultivate on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour event there. You know what I mean? This is obviously some bit of a special, unique thing, but you can hopefully cultivate your own version of this at home. It could be 5-10 minutes of movement. Just sit for a few minutes, chant a little bit, do, whatever it is, like everyone's got their own way and own regimen. It's just making it your own. That's what Cote culture really, as a brand, as a mindfulness brand is not, I'm not certainly sitting here like follow me and do what I'm doing. I'm just like sharing, my experience, but really at the end of the day is empowering people to create their own individual culture. It's pluck what you like from, whether it's a religion or a spiritual group or a spiritual practice, or what people are, doing over here, or whatever it is. Just taking what works for you, what resonates with your heart and is in alignment, and creating your own, your own environment, your own being, right? And staying true to yourself. So I think it looks different for everybody. Like yours is different than mine, but the Cote culture represents self culture. This is not following other people and being a blind follower into whatever dogma people are trying to draw you into. It's just feeling into your own body, building a healthier relationship with yourself, your mind, your thoughts, and your relationships extend beyond yourself. But it's cultivating that self culture. That to me, that's what this is you can come out of these experiences and really understand yourself better, what your body needs more of, where you need to put your energy into, who you need to be around. You know what I mean? It's like raising our vibration. We might recognize that you got a lot of energy vampires in your life, and we might have to eliminate some of them.
Yeah.
Or avoid some of them for
bring
the time.
your wooden stakes with you to the Cote culture rhythmic recharge.
We're eliminating energy vampires. Oh yeah, we are. We're casting all these demons out, but at the end
bring your cloaks.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, if we want, no one's making it out of this life alive, right? But quality of life does matter. Mm-hmm. It really does. Unless you enjoy living a miserable life of suffering and pain. Like I'm just in the business of helping people feel better, raise their energy. And that's the individual energy. And if more people raise their own individual energies, that's the collective, right? That's the collective consciousness. And all the prophets, they've all talked about this, for years and thousands of years is this, right? And so it's a great opportunity to really have people come and experience this high vibe, positive energy that permeates, our environment. We carry that energy forth, and people will feel it for sure.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and you do such a good job leading it, and because you embody everything that you're talking about. You've brought all of this together from your own lived experiences, and now you're, like you said, you're sharing the parts that have worked for you, and you're bringing it to other people. And I feel like that, the lesson for them to be able to take bits and pieces of what works for them is definitely rings true and rings through. And, people are gonna pick up on that pretty quick, I think, and hopefully this next batch of people that we got coming through are gonna be the next ones to experience that and then share the good news about how awesome it is.
That's the plan.
I think it's a good one, man.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. Well, as always, until the next one, drink lots of water, be nice to people. Peace.